Now, this book does have a romantic interest in it. I hate to inform everyone, and it's absolutely worth covering because it's the way it gets handled throughout is just freaking epic. So his romantic interest is a woman named Otsu.
Otsu. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. See? Otsu. And he's, again, we can't cover the whole story, but this is his romantic interest. And she's in and out of the story. And the main point is that even though he desires her and wants to be with her, at the same time, there's something that's more important to him. And that is the way of the sword. So here we go. Back to the book. Musashi covered her small white hand, which was resting on the railing, with his own. Listen, he said plaintively. I beg of you, just stop and think. What's there to think about? I told you, I've just become a new man. I stayed in that musty hole for 3 years. I read books. I thought. I screamed and cried. Then suddenly the light dawned. I understood what it means to be human. I have a new name, Miyamoto Musashi. I want to dedicate myself to training and discipline. I want to spend every moment of every day working to improve myself. I now know how far I have to go. If you choose to bind your life to mine, you'll never be happy. There will be nothing but hardship, and it won't get any easier as it goes along. It'll get more and more difficult. When you talk like that, I feel closer to you than ever. Now I'm convinced I was right. I found the best man I could ever find, even if I searched for the rest of my life. He saw he was just making things worse. I'm sorry, I just can't take you with me. Well then, I'll just follow along. As long as I don't interfere with your training, what harm would it do? You won't even know I'm around. Musashi could find no answer. I won't bother you, I promise. He remained silent. It's all right then, isn't it? Just wait here. I'll be back in a second, and I'll be furious if you try and sneak away. Otsu ran off towards the basket weaving shop. Musashi thought of ignoring everything and running too, in the opposite direction. Though the will was there, his feet couldn't move. Otsu looked back and called, "Remember, don't try to sneak off." She smiled, showing her dimples, and Musashi inadvertently nodded. Satisfied by this gesture, she disappeared into the shop. If he was going to escape, this was the time. His heart told him so, but his body was still shackled by Otsu's pretty dimples and pleading eyes. How sweet she was. It was certain no one in the world would save his sister loved him so much. And it wasn't as though he disliked her. He looked at the sky. He looked into the water, desperately gripped the railing, troubled and confused. Soon tiny bits of wood began floating from the bridge into the flowing stream. Otsu reappeared on the bridge in new straw sandals, light yellow leggings, and a large traveling hat tied under the chin with a crimson ribbon. She'd never looked more beautiful. But Musashi was nowhere to be seen. With a cry of shock, she burst into tears. Then her eyes fell upon the spot on the railing from which the chips of wood had fallen. There, carved with the point of a dagger, was the clearly inscribed message, "Forgive me. Forgive me."
I love how measured his emotions are in the prose. Like he clearly did not dislike her.
Yeah,
that's heavy. That's like I love you in Takezo's speech.
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, that is the nightmare scenario for women right there. That is it.
That's abandonment issues.
Yeah,
number one.
And having spent quite some time in the SEAL teams. This is a real thing. Guys, they have to choose between this girl and their job. And of course, some guys can wake at work and blah, blah, blah. And I did a pretty decent job of making it work. But I'm telling you, there's a 90% divorce rate in the SEAL teams, in the military. It's high. So this is a real choice that guys had to make. And it can be really hard. And that's just a nightmare scenario. And honestly, what's jacked up is that the guys are actually trying to do the right thing. they're actually trying. They're looking at a girl saying, "Look, you don't want to sign up for this. Like, this is not going to be fun." And of course, people fall in love, and those emotions start to take over ridiculously, and it's one of those things. But that's a nightmare scenario for a girl.
Yeah.
And for a guy, I think this is the weird thing. And I can't speak girl. I can't speak for girls because I'm not one. But for most guys, they read that and they kind of go, yeah. At least I do, right? Do you? Do you? No.
I get it. I mean, I'm
Echo's a softie. He doesn't.
I've been drinking the Japan and Samurai Kool-Aid for so long that I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. I bet if we had, those little like meters where people can vote.
Yeah.
Or like this spike on the presidential debates where things would be like, people really agree with this thing. If you had that right there and males between the ages of 18 and 35 were hearing that, they're all like, yeah, walk away, dude. That's what they're thinking.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. And I'm for the SEAL teams, that's the totally normal culture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bro, you got to choose the teams. You got to choose the teams first. Oh, you don't want to, don't want to put her through this. So that's kind of messed up, but it's the reality. Sorry.
Well, especially imagine if your intention is to go duel people to the death repeatedly.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds are not in your favor.
Yeah, eventually someone's going to be better than you.